When Pastor Reginald Dixon was found with his throat slit inside his quiet Krugersdorp home, no one could explain it. He had no enemies. He was a man of peace, of faith. But the truth was far darker than anyone imagined. It began with a woman who claimed to be the bride of Satan. It ended with 11 people dead, murdered in the name of God. This is the true story of Cecilia Steyn and the cult she created. A story of manipulation, blind faith, and horror hiding behind the holy mask. Pastor Reginald Dixon was known for helping the broken. His church doors was always open, even late at night. That's how he met her, Cecilia Steyn. She arrived trembling, claiming she has escaped the satanic cult. She said she was its high priestess, married to Satan himself. She said dark forces were after her. Pastor Dixon was moved. He believed he was helping a spiritual refugee, but the deeper he got, the stranger things became. Cecilia claimed she could astral project, hear God's voice directly, and that demons were attacking her nightly. She would have seizures during prayer, speak in strange tongues, and yet it always felt performed. Still, the pastor didn't walk away. Instead, he introduced her to others in the faith. They began praying for her, fasting with her, and as more people gathered around her, she became something else. Not a victim, but a leader. She formed a group with those who believed her fully. They called themselves Electus Per Deus, chosen by God. When Pastor Dixon tried to step back, he had his doubts, suspicions. He voiced concerns. Days later, he was found dead, stabbed repeatedly, his throat cut with precision. There was no robbery, no struggle, just silence and blood. It was a warning. Cecilia's following grew, not through charisma, but through control. She preyed on people who were vulnerable, broken, or seeking purpose. She gave them a sense of mission, that they were soldiers in a spiritual war. And she gave them an enemy, anyone who left, doubted, or disobeyed her. Her inner circle included Marinda Steyn, a schoolteacher, strict, religious, and blindly loyal. LaRue Steyn, Marinda's teenage son, desperate for approval. Zach Valentine, a financially ruined broker who believed Cecilia could save him. And John Barnard, lost, unemployed, and looking for meaning. Cecilia never killed anyone herself. She sat in her flat surrounded by luxury and religious icons, while her followers carried out her commands. But the question is, why did they kill? The answer lies in a cocktail of fear, obedience, money, and a warped sense of righteousness. They believed God had given Cecilia divine authority. She told them certain people were marked, that God wanted them removed. She said they were enemies of the light, that they had to be cleansed. Some were former cult members. Others had simply asked too many questions. Each killing was justified as a mission from God. Each one brought them closer together, and each one gave Cecilia more power. The first to die after Pastor Dixon was Michaela Valentine, Zach Valentine's wife. She had grown suspicious of Cecilia, just like Pastor Dixon did. Then one night, she was found dead, insulin overdose, but she wasn't a diabetic. No one was ever convicted for it, but those inside the cult knew it was no accident. Then came Kevin McAlpine, stabbed to death. Ria Grunewald slaughtered in her home. Glenn McGregor, lured to a fake job interview, murdered in cold blood. Ube Dumani, a beloved community member, just gone. Each murder was carried out with precision, often by Marinda and her son Leroux. Sometimes Bernard was involved. Sometimes they used Zach's identity to fake legal documents or insurance papers to profit off the dead. What started as cleansing became profitable. Murder disguised as divine duty now lined their pockets. Krugersdorp grew uneasy. The deaths seemed unconnected until one man broke. John Barnard couldn't do it anymore. Racked with guilt and fear, he turned to the police and spilled everything. He described Cecilia's manipulation, how she never touched a knife but pulled every string, how she convinced people that God wanted blood. The police began surveillance, gathered evidence, and in 2018 the arrest began. Cecilia was calm, cold. She denied everything. Marinda, the schoolteacher, confessed in stunning detail. She described the stabbing of her victims in cold blood, the planning of the murders, and she said she'd done it for God. Leroux, just 18 when he killed his first victim, broke down. He said he was trying to make his mother proud. In the court, the judge called it one of the most disturbing cases in South African history. These were not random murders, he said. They were calculated, callous, and driven by a false prophet. Cecilia Steyn was given 13 life sentences, Marinda 11, Leroux 25 years. Zach and the others were also sentenced to life. Today, Krugersdorp still carries the scar, a town that once saw itself as quiet, religious, safe, now known for something else. A cult led by a woman who claimed to speak to God, but who only ever spoke to her own ego. A mother who raised a son to kill in the name of holiness, and a pastor who tried to warn everyone too late. Evil doesn't always come with horns and flames. Sometimes it wears a cross and smiles while it kills. If this true South African horror story shook you, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. In our next episode, we will travel to the Karoo, where a young woman dies in a car crash and never leaves the road again. This is the Uniondale Hitchhiker.